Hey, Derek. Thanks for signing up for this portfolio review. I'm have your website here. I'm going to pull it up in just a minute. But by the time I'm done with this portfolio review, you will have an email from me that has a quick few questions in it. And it would be great if you could send that back to me, fill them out, and this way I'll know exactly where to send the link for this portfolio review and where all the documents should be. So I'm going to jump right into it. I have your portfolio website right up here. I already started looking at it. Let's go to your homepage. Leading with ambition, designing with intention. Pretty cool. I would go ahead and throw an image of yourself up here in the header. The thing that I immediately notice is that you have a bunch of stuff up here. So design, motion, illustration, and about. Now, what I don't recommend is having projects kind of like based on like kind of bucketed by like what type of work that it is. So like motion or illustration. If you are looking to get more work as a graphic designer, let the work speak for itself, where you use your different skills like motion design or illustration to let people know that you can do this. You don't need to have things like, you know, a bucket of motion work, a bucket of illustration work necessarily as the first thing that people see. You can label it, you know, when we get into a project here, you can label it as, you know, this was motion work or this involves, you know, motion design, whatever. But again, I'm not a fan, because what happens is people start to think that, oh, he's doing so many things. Do they do one thing really well, you know? And that's where I think for me, and when I speak to creatives or speak to designers, I would lead with graphic design. That can be different for you, but you know, this is just my thoughts as I'm going through this. Let's click into StockX. Digital campaigns, online marketplace, project, create banners and social media assets, my role, use photography. This is a look and feel, goal. Okay, cool. I would think about like, how do you differentiate the fact that like, here's your goal, here's your challenges. Is it like the text should be like more like a heading and each of these have space in between them? I think it's fine that you have all the text here at the beginning, but again, like, how do I differentiate this so it just doesn't look all like a big block of text? I like that you have like a video playing or like a, you know, like a movement here. That's cool. If this is using Vimeo, I would check to see if you can have this autoplay. So it's just like playing as I scroll down anyway, and looping also. And I'm not a fan of this like animation coming in behind the work. It's kind of distracting. Maybe if it was there from the beginning and it was just slightly moving, I don't know. I'm just like, having that as a pattern when it's paused is fine, but as it's moving and everything else is moving, I think it's too much. And again, I think, you know, like this is clear, like you've done the work here and you've involved motion. You don't need to have motion work, because what you end up with is like buckets that are a little half filled of like, here's all the 2 projects of motion design that I did. Here's the 3 projects of illustration that I did. If you don't have a lot of that stuff, then I would not look at it as like, this is a good way to bucket that stuff. This is cool. This is cool as well. Really like this poster. And I think you could probably use more moments of showing some of these ads in situations like this, you know? I think that would be really cool. Yes, they're digital ads, but like, why not? This is an interesting way to display the work as well. I don't hate it. But again, I would have all of these like auto playing and looping, you know, so that like, I don't have to press play. I'm not a fan of having this thing, you know, this work repeated over and over and over again. It's now clicking to me that you have them in different languages, but again, you know, like, I think it's too much. And if you want to show the fact that these were all in different languages, I would question like, why isn't the name also in different languages? Like, if the big payoff here, the big headline here is that like, yeah, we had a bunch of different languages to handle, you could just kind of write that out and show like 4 examples of how the CTA changed. You don't need to show every one of them. Let's go back. Let's click on StockX Air Max Day. Capitalize on the celebration of Air Max by highlighting the impact. Audience goal. Develop a visual style of the campaign to. And you're already kind of doing it, right? Like graphic design, conceptual development, motion design, and production artists. So I would think about, how do we bucket this stuff? How do we bucket stuff like this, right? Could you label it as like branding for the campaign? So campaign branding and production potentially. I've seen this mock before, and I'm not a fan of how you're using the background. Like the background's fine. Is there a different mock-up that you could use for this? The best Air Max Day. I think your portfolio needs some space. I think it needs some negative space, and it needs to have a bit more of like copy sprinkled in between, stuff like this. The other thing I'm missing from this is that it looks like I would consider this like sort of campaign branding. And I don't know, I don't get this. I don't know if this is like a mood board or something. That doesn't feel like it's in the right place. But if you're going to have sections where it's like, here's my mood board and exploration, you need to have something to explain it. You need to have copy there to explain that. You're also kind of like missing the big element, I think, of like showing how you came up with this pattern and how that became like the main part of this campaign. Okay, from here, I'm going to go to your about page because I clicked on this before. I'm not a fan of how your website changes almost completely from the rest of your website when I click about. And the only way to get back is to click this. My expectation is like, where did the navigation go? Things like that. So I would think about that. Really quickly, I'm going to look at this from, can I not right click? I can't right click anywhere on your website, can I? Interesting. Inspect. Okay. So let's look at this website on mobile. Again, like I'm looking for separation in these things. I'm looking for separation in these images, and I think you can use a little bit more negative space. I like that you're showing explorations. I don't like seeing this face over and over again. Maybe you can cut it down to like 6 and then talk about how many iterations you actually went through to get to the one that you landed on. It's good to show like the lockup here. This is fine. I'm glad you showed the previous and the redesigned. And again, I'm missing like like some sort of description. Like, why did you do a mobile app? Did they have a mobile app before? Did they not have a mobile app? Was that part of like this idea of rebranding where like, oh, they want to be with a younger audience, so we developed a mobile app for them? Like that I think is missing throughout a lot of your projects, where you need to sort of explain what was being done or what was being thought of as I'm going through this website. All right. Gonna go ahead, stop sharing. Again, thank you so much for signing up for this. And by the time I'm done with this, review, you will have an email from me with a couple of quick questions. Once you fill those out, that'll let me know where I should send the link to this recording as well as the document. So thank you so much.